Recently I had to take apart this vintage table saw because I needed to repair a couple of the components. Now upon doing so, I got the trunnions all out of whack. And what does that mean? My blade was no longer parallel with these miter slots. So I'm gonna get this guy realigned, and I'm not talking about like, you're either with us or against us. I'm talking parallel. So what's up everybody? Welcome back to Make It Cozy. Let's go ahead and get started.
Now, the first thing before you get started is you definitely want to unplug any kind of power that could be in your receptacle and let your robot friend carry it for you. All right, I think that works out. So next thing we want to do is we want to get the blade in the full upright position for alignment. Now, you can do this a few ways. You could use like a pair of calipers in your miter slot, or a combo square, or even a dial indicator. I'm not going to go all A-bomb on it like that, but I'm going to use my combo square coming up. But first I got to get these fasteners in safe hands. There you go. Boop. All right, so I got the blade in the full upright position. And if you look up here, I've got this tooth going to this miter slot. And if you look real close, it's about on the 112 millimeter mark. So if I take this and move it to the back, keeping it with the tooth there, now you see that it's one tick past the 11, so 111 millimeters. So it's off. It's a little bit off. And what we need to do is realign it back into position, sort of like a snake. So we're going to get this back trunnion. We're going to get this front trunnion. The frunnion. We're going to call it the frunnion because that's how I roll. So we have to loosen these bad boys right here. These two and the ones in the back. And I'm just going to leave this front panel off. A, because it's a pain in the beans to try to maneuver this thing back in and out of position, especially with how the this doodle right here is all busted. But this is like the tilting arm. It's not in the best condition, and you can't just like maneuver it in and out like Legos or something. So I'm thinking that if it is further out, right, this is going to be drastic. But the blade in relation to this line is like this, right? Because it's closer here in the back than it is in the front. All right, so these trunnion bolts, they're just like sitting on there with a 9/16 bolt. So I'm going to use that to loosen them up. And I don't need to take them off. I definitely don't want to take them all the way off, and you'll see why later. It'll make more sense. But we're just going to loosen the front and the back. That way we can get just a little bit of play in there so that we can adjust those trunnions accordingly. And as I go in for a closer look, right, you'll notice that this is what's controlling the movement. And if you loosen those all the way, then there is a potential for that part to kind of slip out like that. And if it slips out, your motor's going to fall, and I don't want that. So I had to loosen the back a little bit more than I had anticipated just to get it back into alignment. And for that, what I want to do is just kind of give myself a fail-safe. And I'm going to use this big old clamp so that I can keep these two things together, the front and the back trunnion, just so they won't slip out of position. And it just gives me some reassurance that that motor won't fall out of position. Because I've already dealt with that. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So we got it tightened up, and we're just going to move this piece so that we can realign it right. We don't want it to wiggle as one unit. So I just want to be able to move the back as one, and I want to be able to move the front trunnion as one together so that they move accordingly. So I'm just going through and I'm just checking my measurements, right? We want to keep the same tooth each time. We don't want to just go from the back, some random back tooth to a random front tooth. It makes it easier for you to get more consistent results if you just keep the same tooth. And you can mark it as well. But what I've come to find out looking at the measurements is that I need to move the back towards the camera a little bit. So I'll just give it a little tappy. Just a little taparoo, and I'll just go and check it. And you kind of get a little false goodness here. So I'll tap it into position once again, and I'm looking at my measurements, and things seem to be going according to plan, which is nice. However, whenever you go to do these things, you have to take into consideration the fact that tightening the bolts may also introduce some play that you did not anticipate, which is what happened to me here. So I think everything is all cool. I go to tighten everything up, and then I just go to recheck, right? You want to recheck your measurements. And looking at the front, and then going back using the same tooth, I'm looking at the back, and then I notice that all of a sudden the tightening action is no bueno. Not good. So we're going to have to go back in and, yeah, see, thumbs down. We'll have to come back in, and the back just kind of loosened itself back out of position. And so without boring you with going and doing the process over again, what I am doing is using my, my little compound guy ruler and just making sure that everything is cool, and everything just barely bites the edge of that ruler, just barely bites the tooth, so that's good. Unfortunately, with any measurement, my zero clearance is no longer a zero clearance because we had to realign, right? No good. So we're going to go in and take the blade all the way down, and then I'm just going to have to place the zero clearance, which is no longer going to be a zero clearance. It'll be like a 1/2 clearance. My little robot guy's coming in. Yes, look at him. He's so majestic.
What is that?
It's my robot buddy. Who cares? John, we don't have time, all right?
Give me my bucket of bolts. And by that, I mean fasteners. Yay, thanks, robot guy. And, yeah, so that's it. So I'll just screw these back into position, start the blade up, and then roll it in so that I can get my slot recut so the blade can actually move and maneuver. And I understand that I could just make a new zero clearance. It's not that hard, but just for the sake of the video, I'm just doing it this way. And there we go.
All right, we got this thing back in action. But one thing that I'm kind of curious about is what's up with my table saw sled, my crosscut sled, right? We built that guy a little bit ago. I'll leave a ding dong in the, if you know what I'm saying. So check it out if you want to see how I built it with some components from IKEA. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but hey, check it out. Pique your curiosity, you know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and get this guy. Oh Lord, why would I hose myself like this? Now the cool thing about it is that it's already going to be slotted, but is it going to be aligned? It is not, yes, so that's going to stink. How much is it off by? Oh dude, it's like literally a blade width. All right, so here it is from the back. We're going to hit it from the back, right? Check it out. There's the HTB guys, what's up? I made those myself. That's how it rolls, son. But look, dude, it's like, you can see, oh, it's right on it. It's right on it. That's like perfect. Look at that, see? Let me focus in. Focus in. It's like a tooth. It's like a tooth off. It's like al dente, except with woodworking. And not as punny. Not as punny. Yeah, so what am I going to do? Am I going to redo it? Do I want to redo the whole thing just for one little bing bong? I don't think so. As long as it's parallel, I think that's fine. I'll just run it to fail. You know what I mean? This thing is just made out of scraps anyway, so it's not like that. It's that big of a deal, right? That's not kind of like the whole point of the show. My show, my channel. Focus, baby. Come on. Quit messing with me. Right? We can do it on a budget. We can always rebuild it on a budget. You know what I mean? Is it ideal? No. But can I live with it? Absolutely. Absolutely, I can live with it. I'm not doing a lot of zero clearance stuff anyways with my crosscuts. So I'm fine with it. That's something you got to make that decision call. That decision call? You got to make that call or make that decision. It's kind of two separate things. I combined them. But you know what? It's all good because you know why? We're going to make it. We're going to make it cozy. We're going to be okay. Boom. There we go. We got this thing resituated. We got it parallel with the miters so that going forward, we're going to be all set and ready to go. The last thing you might want to consider is the parallelness of your fence to your blade. And this one is real simple. I'll just tell you real quick. All you got to do is adjust these guys right here. And just to make sure that it is, well, there's no wiggle like the trunnions or whatever. But just make sure that it's straight away, right? Between the blade and the fence. So that's it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.